Ulm, see Wilford Brothers.
In Fairmont, see Dan's Appliance.
There's no place like home. Be proud of it.
And now, the Randall Stores of Southern Minnesota, your family shopping headquarters, presents The Bandwagon. From the studios of Channel 12, it's The Bandwagon, brought to you this evening by the Randall Stores of Southern Minnesota. Each week, Randall's brings you a favorite band of our upper Midwest with your favorite old and new style music. Tonight's music by the Six Fat Dutchmen from New Ulm. And now, here's your musical bandmaster, Chuck Passett.
Well, thanks a lot and good evening, everyone, and welcome aboard the Bandwagon program. It's nice to have you, and those are the familiar strains of the Six Fat Dutchmen, who are guests on the Bandwagon show tonight, brought to you by the Randall Stores of Southern Minnesota. Been a while since we've had Harold and the Six Fat Dutchmen with us, and so we welcome them aboard, and that means that we've got a lot of good old-time music coming up in the next 30 minutes. Some good news from the Randall Stores, too, the stores where things are happening, the exciting stores here in Southern Minnesota. We'll tell you a little bit about that, and of course, we've got a number of requests. We're back on the air again with our Bandwagon program after one Saturday off because of the NCAA and Iowa girls basketball tournament, but we'll be on from now on to bring you the Bandwagon show, and you'll see it at this time every week, every Saturday night. So what do you say we start out the dancing and the listening, start the party out with a nice waltz here are the Six Fat Dutchmen, and what else? The Dutchman's Waltz. We are getting the program started this evening with the Dutchman's Waltz by Harold Luckelbacher and the Six Fat Dutchmen. Well, we have a number of requests that kind of piled up over the last couple of weeks, so we'll try to include as many as we can on tonight's program. We're going to send it out for the following anniversaries: Mr. and Mrs. George Tiedekin of St. James, Mr. and Mrs. Herman Bergmeyer of New Ulm, Herman and Dorothy Gruss of Buffalo Center, Iowa, Mark and Nancy Rolick of Vesta, Christy and Dorothy Ingerbretson of Keister, and Alvin Rosenberg of Ceylon. Also, some birthdays here: Sophie Colbert, who is 100 years old, lives down in the Jackson area, so we got to say a very happy birthday to her. Also, let's do it for Elmer Anderson of Elmore, Ray Lyon of Blue Earth, Gene Willoughby, and Ray Gorakowski of Truman. We've got one here for Margaret Hurd of Belle Plaine, and Anna Bonin of St. Paul, and Mrs. Arnold Willoughby, among other people. All these people celebrating birthdays. And then a very nice letter. Really treasure this letter. We got it, came to us here a couple of days ago at the Channel 12 studios from Spirit Lake, Iowa. It's Mr. and Mrs. Eli Anlon Anliker down there who send their greetings, and they say they're 91 and 92 years old, so they don't do too much dancing, but they're regular Bandwagon fans, and their son, Arnie Anliker, is a former employee here of KEYC Television. And so we want to say the best wishes to them, and thanks a lot for writing. It was real pleasant hearing from you, and many, many happy days in return. Polka time right now, and here's one of our neighbors down there, so what do you say we salute the folks at Sleepy Eye with the Sleepy Eye Polka. Well, many happy days to the folks at Sleepy Eye. Special salute for them with the Sleepy Eye Polka tonight on our Bandwagon program. And we're doing this on behalf of the Bandwagon people, and of course we're also doing it on behalf of the Randall stores of southern Minnesota. And as we mentioned before, that's the place where all those exciting things are happening. You know, the Randall stores feature so many good things and has such a good atmosphere around the Randall stores that you'll really enjoy shopping there. And so we want to recommend them to you and hope that you have an opportunity to stop in real soon. If you don't make them a regular stop on your list of things to do during the week, we think that you're missing something, missing the great merchandise that the Randall stores have, the great service, the great friendly atmosphere, and of course the great savings that you'll make week after week and month after month. So you'll be sure to stop in at your nearby Randall store. They're located here in Mankato on Park Lane, of course, and also the great Randall stores at New Ulm, Fairmont, and Waseca. You'll really appreciate the Randall difference, as the saying goes, and we invite you to sample the same. Well, we've got a few more requests. Viva Whitmire of Laverne, Iowa, Harold Schipple and Susan Hefty, also out of Iowa, Leo Pancrantz, Anelda Stecker of Titonka, Roger Stecker, and Agnes Wolden of Pocahontas, and Frieden Zelmer of Louisville. And a few more requests will be coming up in a few moments here. Got one here for Noreen Heath of St. Peter, who's celebrating a birthday, and she says that she'd like a waltz, so we're going to send a waltz out to her. It's roll-up time, too, and you'll see a few more requests on the screen. The music is by the Six Fat Dutchmen, and it's the Black Hawk Waltz. The title of that one was the Black Hawk Waltz. Black Hawk Waltz, and the music is by the Six Fat Dutchmen here on our Bandwagon program. Got a few more requests we want to send your way. Ellen Fitzke, at 94 years old, out of Mankato, for Maxine Klinger of Waseca, Harold Torgerson of Medelia, Linda Klinger of Waseca, Werner Zimmerman, Russ Dahlke, Lois Zimmerman, Dave Miller, Dorothy Anderson, Joe Winutka, Myrtle Lund, Darlow Foster, Evelyn Hagan, and also Bruce Marks and Herman Bergmeyer. They come to us out of New Ulm, and so we want to say hello to those folks, and thanks a lot for writing to us on the Bandwagon program. Well, we've got Harold Leffelmacher with us here this evening. Of course, the bard of the bass horn brings the Six Fat Dutchmen in here, and we'll have Harold take a look at a few requests I think you got there, haven't you, Harold? Can you get to those?
Lois Bear
Right.
from Fulda, Minnesota, on her birthday. And this is Donna Kirkner and, on her birthday. Well, we got a few more here. John.
I think it's Loftness, isn't it?
Huh?
John Loftness, 90 years
Yeah,
old.
John Loftus, 98 years old.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And Mrs. Louis Kirchner.
Mrs. Louis Kirkner is 93 years old. And Benny Gates of Gaylord.
Yeah, right.
He's about 50 years old. I used to have a band, and we used to play with him, Presbyterian night. And
Another band leader there, Eddie Skeets.
Eddie Skeets. He's an old-time band leader.
Mm-hmm. You remember those guys, huh?
Yes.
Back across the years, yeah. Anything else you want to add here, Harold?
Well, all I want to say is just thank you people for coming out tonight, and I hope you enjoy the music, and have a pleasant good evening, and so long to you, and have a pleasant good day.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Harold. Nice to have you here along with the Six Fat Dutchmen. We always welcome the Fat Dutchmen here with us, and they're doing a good job again tonight. I want to remind you that we videotape this program every Saturday night, and we'll be taping it for some time to come now, on every Monday night, rather, and play it back on Saturday night. So remember to be with us on Monday evening, shortly after 8 o'clock, when we'll be videotaping the program. Next week, we'll have Christy Hengel with us on the show, Larry Olson after that, and the Jolly Ramblers. So we've got a lot of good old-time music headed your way on the Bandwagon program. Well, we've got Johnny Gogg with us. Long time since we've seen Johnny. I think probably just got back into the country. He's been overseas, here, there, and everywhere, and up in a big balloon or something. But it's nice to have Johnny and his squeeze box back again with us, and here's a concertina solo. It's a polka, and it's titled Dance, Dance, Dance. Well, there's the old master of the squeeze bars. We had Johnny Dog with us that time, and the title of that one was the Dance, Dance, Dance Polka. And we'll have another polka coming up in just a few moments on our Bandwagon program, brought to you by the Randall Stores of Southern Minnesota. You know, we talk a little bit about the Randall difference on our program, and you know what it is. It's a warm, cheery greeting and a helping hand when you visit the Randall store in your neighborhood. Randall's wants to serve your every single need, and they'll give it their very best shot every time. Courteous and friendly service is right on the top of the list. Fast and friendly throughout the store, wherever you may be, any department. That is just part of the Randall difference. You know, one of the important parts when you shop at a supermarket, of course, is the meat department and the produce department, and you just can't beat the Randall stores on either one of those. Full-service stores with quality products all the way through, and stores located in Mankato, New Ulm, Fairmont, and Waseca. Okay, well, here's an old-time tune that we haven't heard for a little while, but it's nice to have it back again with us. It goes back across the years, been very, very popular over the years. The Six Fat Dutchmen and the Old Lady Polka. Back here again next week at the same time, and invite you to join us in our studios next Monday night when we're videotaping Christy Hengel and the gang from New Ulm. Lots of good old-time music just around the corner coming up to entertain you on the Bandwagon program. The Christy Hengel Show will be followed by Larry Olson, and then the Jolly Ramblers, just to mention a few of the bands right around the corner. Well, a few more requests we want to take a look at. Mrs. Alvin Hovemeyer of Cortland. And then from St. John's Home at Springfield, Minnesota, a lot of names there. Arnold Johnson, Bill Rubichung, Irma Stark, Clarice Meyer, Estella Tracy, Martina Kiergaard, Marjorie Lyle, Ann Lepetsky, Joe Foy, and among the names that come to us from the St. John's Home at Springfield. Rudolph Albrecht of Mapleton is celebrating his 94th birthday, and Margaret Domeyer and Francis Domeyer also, with a request that comes to us from New Ulm. Okay, well, let's see. We've got a nice waltz number coming up here now, just around the corner, the fishing season here in Minnesota, so we'll salute that gang with the Little Fisherman's Waltz. still that authentic old-time sound of the Six Fat Dutchmen under the baton of Harold Leffelbacher, the barb of the bass horn, featured tonight on our Bandwagon program. What do you say we take a few requests that we got here at our studios a couple of weeks ago for Louis Geiger of New Ulm, Mr. and Mrs. Louis Geiger with an anniversary. Other anniversaries include Harold and Agnes Sorensen of Spencer, Iowa, Bill and Dolores Bartholomew of New Richland, Robert and Phyllis Stade of Mankato, Tudor and Ardella Price of Lake Crystal, Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Keel of Gaylord, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Fazenat of Madison Lake, and Mr. and Mrs. Waldemar Becker of Truman, and also Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd Huffman of Fairmont. Happy anniversary, folks. May you have a great one. And what do you say we go back to the polka again at another good old-timer here on the Six Fat Dutchmen with the Schneider Polka. Okay. Another great old timer. A few more requests here. Mrs. Frank Truckwill of Olivia with a birthday. Mr. Robert Kabiska Sr. of Blooming Prairie, and Mrs. Robert Kabiska of Blooming Prairie. Kimberly Sorensen of Terrell, Iowa. Reuben Weber of Mankato. Amos Hendrickson of Heartland. Joe Parker of Freeborn. Marlis Tesmer of Glencoe, and Harold Gordon of Walnut Grove. Also, happy birthday to Diane Stade of Mankato. Lorraine Amundsen of Faribault. Debbie Meyer of Sleepy Eye. Robert Meyer of Springfield. Mr. and Mrs. Allen Meyer of Cortland, and their son Jacob, and for Barbara Lamson of Mankato. Laura Walters of Lake Crystal celebrating a birthday, along with Elaine Seitz and Michael Seitz, and Verna Scharfenkamp of Franklin, Francis Sokup of Sleepy Eye, Clarence Lokup, also of Sleepy Eye, Marie Wingeren of Keister, and Martha Gosman of Cokato, celebrating their 60th birthday. They're twins, and Agatha Coughlin of Waterville. And so we'll say a happy birthday to those folks who all celebrated birthdays in the recent past, and we want to acknowledge that on the Bandwagon program. Well, we want to thank the Six Fat Dutchmen for being with us tonight on the Bandwagon show, and thank you, too, for looking in and joining us on the program. Always a pleasure to have you. And may I again reiterate that invitation that you're always welcome at our studios. We videotape the program on Monday night shortly after 8 o'clock. Hope you can come in and join us and have a good time with us here at our Channel 12 studios. And by the way, if you're going to bring in a group of people, just let us know a few days ahead of time so we know what to expect. And, of course, you're welcome to bring a group in and join us on the Bandwagon program. Next Monday night, we'll be videotaping Christy Hengel and his old-time band, and we've got a big lineup of bands coming after that all throughout the spring and summer season, so we hope that you can be a Bandwagon regular from here on in. What do you say we wrap her up now as far as the music goes with an old-time waltz? This is a good one, the Farmer's Wedding Waltz. Okay. presented for your viewing pleasure by the Randall Stores of Southern Minnesota, headquarters for all your shopping needs, with stores in Mankato, New Ulm, Fairmont, and Waseca. Be sure to join us next week at the same time when you see and hear Christy Hengel and his band from New Ulm. And until that time, remember that this week, like every week, is a good week to shop and save at your nearby Randall store. Have a great week. See you next week, same time. So long now.